Alright, we're on the play. We get some mulligan. Good start. Alright, this is a keep. I can already feel myself going off tilt, so I'm going to try to rein it in here. Grasping Scoundrel. Alright, that's fine. It's a pretty decent draw, Mountain. So now this Mutiny we can do some work. So he's likely to play a follow-up creature, and then we can pick off one or the other of his creatures. More than likely just play this Wayfinder first, though. And I'm also likely just gonna trade off here, rather than take a bunch of damage. Moment of Craving's fine. Take some damage. Hopefully Wayfinder hits me a spell, especially because I really didn't want another land there. Perfect, let's keep that on top. Alright, this game's looking a little better now. He can't attack into my board. This Herd Caller is going to give him problems. See, this is the matchup I was more thinking about. Okay, that's a pretty good follow-up. So now the question is, do I use this Mutiny just to pick off the Grasping Scoundrel? I don't think I do. I've got the Scoundrel pretty well uncovered. Even though we're not going to really be able to deploy this Mutiny until a couple turns down the line. I think I'm okay just standing pat with this current board. I might block this border. I probably don't, though, if he just attacks here. I don't know if that's correct. I think it makes sense, though. A trade is acceptable, and getting a trick out of his hand is also acceptable. Tormentor's fine. I'm gonna pitch the... It's actually kind of annoying. I think I pitched the Forest. Worst case here, we can just use the Mutiny if we don't find land. Okay. So we're gonna have the Tormentor deal the damage to the Scoundrel. Pass the turn. I was trying to think of what could punish me for that block, and I guess Tormentor is up there, because not only did it add another creature that the Wayfinder would have brick-walled, but it also prevented me from doing what I wanted to do that turn. I mean, I could have pitched the Mutiny, but I don't think we're under that much pressure that we're gonna get totally punished and not be able to deploy our threats because I pitched the land. But hey, everything else has been going wrong for me this draft, so why shouldn't this? Okay, that's not bad either. That'll at the very least either brickwall everything, or it will get me to my next land drop. Or mana rather, not so much a land drop, because it's only one shot. That's pretty good. Okay, that's also pretty good. Let's go ahead and knock off that Hunter now. It's essentially just a 2/2 Death Touch against my deck. He only has 2 cards in hand, so that's good news. Didn't do anything. Okay, that's not bad either. Just a very expensive Evolving Wilds. That'll eventually replace itself. Drew Neckbreaker, that's good. I'm gonna take 4. I'm gonna have to take a fair amount of damage, I think, before we can deal with that Neckbreaker, unfortunately. Post-combat, returning border, really? Would have thought he would want that Dinosaur Hunter back. That's interesting. Let's play the Herd Caller. Dreadmaw was a pretty decent draw too. We can get a 6th mana off this barrier basically whenever we want to. Probably going to chump one of his creatures with the barrier regardless here. Potentially this dinosaur hunter, or one of these dinosaurs also. Chupacabra. That's rude. Down goes the herd caller. So yeah, I'm going to chump here with the gleaming barrier. And then I think I'm just going to hunt the weak to take care of the neckbreaker now. Another Tormentor, that's rude. That's really rude. Alright. I don't want to discard either of these cards, but I think I discard the Hunt the Weak. It sucks. I guess I might as well play the land. Save the treasure for ascend purposes. So I know he has that 3/3 for 3. Don't know what else is in his hand. 5-drop. Man. Just this format. Is it just me? Am I really that bad that I can't understand why I lose so much? Am I making such glaringly obvious mistakes that I have no right to complain? Or am I really just getting destroyed for no reason? Just murder me. Okay, so this is a matchup where he has a lot of 2/2s. In theory, our deck should be fine. I'm just frustrated. Raptor is a decent blocker. Don't think we need another 4-drop though. Didn't see many 1-toughness guys outside of the Grasping Scoundrel. Scoundrel is a pretty decent target, but we're also on the play, so I don't think we're gonna need that as much. I think I'm gonna go back to the 10-7 base that I was thinking before. Now that we're on the play, on the draw, I'll go back to the 9-8, I think, because that's where we're gonna need the Fire Cannon Blast on curve more likely. But I will play. If I can't win with this hand, I'm quitting this format forever. Which I was already planning on doing after this draft, to be fair. Got a 1-drop. This looks like a Daring Buccaneer, yep. I'm gonna lead with Trailblazer, because that's the one I'd rather trade off. At this juncture. Revealed the 2/1, that's fine. Block. Ranging Raptor should line up pretty nicely against his board, or his deck in general, really. The Spitter. Now I'll play Hatchling. The turn. It's kind of rude. It's not the end of the world. I'm just going to take the trade here, not get my value, but get rid of his 3-power creature so that this Herd Caller will brick off the rest of his board. recover. See, it seems like he's being super impatient and we're still just getting rolled here. It's like he could have set up a scenario where that Chupacabra comes down and just obliterates me. Or like he gets to recover it. Is it worthwhile to attack here? Yes, it is. Because he has to double block. If he wants to get value, he has to lose his Dinosaur Hunter. He's just going to take it all, that's fine. So Dreadmaw. Death Spitter. That's not a bad card either. Can't cast 2 spells, unfortunately. I think I'd like to get rid of that Dinosaur Hunter, though. So let's have the Chupacabra knock off the Hunter. And then I think just send in with the Dreadmaw. He takes it all, huh? Alright. So Tormentor can get rid of my Fire Cannon Blast, but that's not the end of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, we have won a game. The road was tough, the beats were bad, but we got there. So now, we're on the draw, so we're going to have to make some more meaningful decisions. I want to be a little bit more defensive here. I think I want to cut one of these blasts for Tillinolli's Crown. He has a pretty solid number of 1 toughness creatures that I'm going to want to pick off and not get run over very early in the game. And we have the minor combos with the Raptors and the Armasaurs. The question is this the correct card to cut? Or do we cut something like a Rozka Relic, which is very slow? It's probably a worthwhile swap. I want to go back to the 8th mountain as well. Is Raptor better than anything? Maybe one of these Dreadmaws. Dreadmaw's pretty strong, but he actually does have quite a few ways to get rid of it pretty efficiently. So I think I can make that swap. If he, Chupacabra, Contract Killing, he could have like Impale also. Black is generally the color that this matches up the worst against. Although ironically red is the color it matches up best against, but his particular deck, it didn't look to be so much the case. And I think we can do this. Alright. It's also an argument to just bringing in the Daring Buccaneer as a 2/2 that's sometimes just going to be for 3 mana. Keep this a little bit slow on the draw, but as long as he doesn't have just like 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop removal. And now I've gone and jinxed myself again. Alright, no 1-drop. Let's commune, see what we find. Dreadmaw or a land. We're doing pretty good on lands. Although we will want a second mountain at some point. I think I'm okay taking this Dreadmaw, especially with a knight already in my hand. Our curve's looking pretty nice here now. Even though we don't have a 2-drop at the moment. Trailblazer, that's a pretty good one. Here's our second red. See, this is where Tillinolli's Crown would have been fantastic. Fell Flagship. Rude. Don't think we have any way to answer that outside of Bombard. That would have been a good draw. Alright, well, we've probably lost this game already. That's going to be pretty hard to answer. Tormentor, I'll pitch a land. Let's drop the Knight. Well, if he's thinking, that's probably good news for me. Interesting. I think it makes sense to double block here. If he wants to spend a trick to get rid of my Knight of the Stampede to prevent the Dreadmaw coming down, maybe. This trade doesn't really make sense to me though, unless he just really wants to trigger Enrage. Let's grab a Forest. Or trigger Raid rather, is what I meant. Another Tormentor maybe? Or does he have like Ruin Raider or something crazy? See, that doesn't really... that confuses me. That trade doesn't seem profitable for him. Rosca Raptor, huh? That's interesting. I could play that and use Hunt the Weak right away, because this Raptor only costs 2. Dreadmaw costs 4. So I can actually just play 2 dinos here. It's probably the best course of action. It's not a bad little turn. I highly doubt this Dreadmaw is going to survive the turn, though. It's going to get Chupacabra or something. Maybe Contract Killing. Dino Hunter. Plus Death Spitter. Okay. This is a manageable board. So I can get rid of that Hunter. I can attack with Dreadmaw. I think I like just getting rid of the Hunter now. And I couldn't use Hunt the Weak with one of my dinos or I would just lose it. So if I send with the Dreadmaw rather, he has to lose 2 guys to get rid of it, so it's worthwhile, I think. Versus the Raptor, you can just trade off the border, which I don't love as much. Okay, you're just gonna lose 2 small guys, that's fine. Yep. Take some damage, I take some damage. Play the Trailblazer. I mean, I could still lose this if he top decks better than me from this point, but now we're in the position where I think my deck starts to shine. Where we've got the board pretty well locked up. We've got more powerful top decks than him overall. Although, to be fair, his deck does have a lot of good, just individually powerful cards, which is rare for a red-black aggro deck. He has the Neckbreaker, he's got the Chupacabra. Even the Recover at this point would be pretty solid. mana. There's the recover. What did he get back? I didn't see. Full Death Spitter. Okay. Solid. Solid. Okay, that's not bad. What are my options here? Sending with Trailblazer doesn't accomplish anything because he can just crew the Fell Flagship with Death Spitter and block with 2 creatures that can just eat it. Unless I wanted to make a bluff attack, but I don't really. I can send with these 2, which would allow him to make this 1-for-1 trade, but that trade's kind of going to happen no matter what, and it'll clear the way for my Regisaur post-combat if he decides to make that trade. Or he can make a double block on the Knight, which would be, I think, favorable for me. I think it makes sense to send here, try to clear the board up a little bit, even though it's a 1-for-1 trade at a mana slight disadvantage. So I think my 3-4 is going to be better in the long term than his 4-3 for my defensive purposes. Is that right? Yeah, which I mean to say that... Huh, interesting. Okay, so he really wants to get rid of my Knight, that's fine. It's actually interesting which one I want to kill, because the 3-3 does not threaten my Regisaur or my Raptor, but it gives them long-term value with other pirates. Although, come to think of it, killing the flagship shrinks this down to a 3-3, which is also kind of accomplishes the same thing, so I think that's right. Getting rid of the flagship first. I don't think we're going to just win this game in a race, like immediately. This game will still go on for a few turns, in which case the flagship's going to give him more value. So I'm going to go after that instead. I'll just play this post-combat. Could have also played the land out of my hand. The only reason that would be relevant is if he were to trigger raid on a Deadeye Tormentor and then we top decked our 7-drop. But I think that's exceedingly unlikely. And also not even that devastating for us because we can just find a 7-drop later. And this will allow me to potentially bluff him into thinking he needs to force me to discard this last card. Tilnali's Crown, that's fine. But we are getting a little bit low in life. He only has 1 card in hand, which isn't super threatening, so I'm just going to block with Trailblazer here. Take 5 trample, plus 2, so I'd be at 3. That's actually pretty low. Going down to 3 life. The alternative would be blocking with Alpha. I take 2 plus 2, puts me to... Huh. I want to be careful not to get accidentally one-shotted here, or put myself in a position where like 3 surprise damage would just surprise me. I guess I just block here. It's the safest line. I mean, the best block was definitely Trailblazer in every scenario other than the one where I get randomly burned out, but I think I'm winning this game. I think I have to make sure I don't just randomly get face rolled out of this game by something weird. So I go to 6. Now that was a good draw. It was about one of the better draws we could have had, actually. I'm just going to play my land out. Don't really need to hide any more information. risk losing to that scenario I mentioned. Now I think we're in pretty solid shape, unless he top decks something like really crazy, like a Tetsamok even. Might even be able to race a Tetsamok. Probably not though. That card is real good. So I know he has 3/3 flash in his deck. No, I don't. That was last round. That was the green-red player. What am I saying? Trying to think of the scenario cards that punishes me if I send everything, but I think I should. Forces a block. If I send with only my 3-power guys, he can just take a go to 1 and then something off the top could kill me. This forces him to trade or jump. Okay, and now I think there's not anything in the format that can save him. Alright, we actually got a match.